Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to our live show. My name is Jane Ballat. We're just waiting for our other co-hosts to come on. Hello, Livin. If you've joined, can you please accept to be a co-host? Hello, Grace. Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Thank you. Welcome to the show. I'm just waiting for Livin. He's supposed to join us. He's also going to be on one of the people talking on the show.
Okay.
So I don't know. He's not accepted to also be a host. Livin, if you join, can you please go on as a co-host? Okay, I think we can start. I'm sure he'll join us. All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Janiba Ginger Show once again. My name is Jane Ballat, who is the MD CEO of Janiba Ginger Limited. And co-hosting with me is our ever pretty registered dietitian Grace Abasrim of Ochonogo. As always, Grace is she's an excellent and expert registered dietitian at what she does. She's had over 8 years of experience, and I would call her Onodogu at this point. She's somebody who who tries to spice things up when coming up with meal plans. So she's been with us from inception. She's helped us come up with our recipes and has also been our guide. So I see this as a very wonderful opportunity to have someone who's an expert in her field as a dietitian to be on the show and to be available for anyone who may need guidance or advice on healthy meal plans to manage their health situations, to be guided by her. So once again, welcome, dietitian Grace. We hope that this our show today will be more interactive and more interesting. We're supposed to have one other person with us who is one of our tech giants. We call him Livin Oviemina. I hope I didn't destroy his name. The name of his company is Crichton & Co. He joined us today on the show because our topic relates to what he does as an expert or as a profession. So without wasting any much time, our topic today is remote work and your work plates and your plates. Are your eating habits suffering? Once more, remote work and your plate. Are your eating habits suffering? So we came up with this because we felt it applies to everyday life. This is the post-COVID era. And a lot of us that are, that had jobs from 9 to 5 jobs or even over 9 to 5 jobs, those that worked from an office space, we realized that from the COVID era till this time, the work culture has changed. The work style has changed because people now don't always have to go to the office. They can work remotely from home. And that started because of the social distancing and other conditions that were put during the COVID era to help us manage that period. Hello, Grace, are you on? Okay, it was like it was going off. Okay.
There's a message. She said, I'm not seeing the invitation to join the live.
Oh, okay.
Maybe he should send you the invite, then you accept.
Okay, yes. Livin, can you please send me the invite so I can accept? Because I did, let me see if this will work. I did send you an invite. And I also added you as the moderator. I don't know if that will also work. Let me re-invite you. Okay, I've sent you another invite, leaving. Okay. All right. So, or just send me what do you call it? Just as ask to also be on the show, so I can accept. Let's see if that will work as well. Okay. All right. So we'll carry on till you can join us. Okay. So as I was saying, so with the post-COVID era, the work culture has changed in many institutions and in many countries because of the social distancing and many what do you call them, conditions put in by the government to help manage the COVID situation. So today we're looking at how this has kind of influenced our diets. You know, not like before that we all have this job from this time to this time, and then we have our lunch time from this time to this time. With the remote work and having to work from home or work from other places, we've had to improvise when it comes to eating because we are always on the go. So without speaking too much, let me invite dietitian Grace to give her own perspective on this. Because of course, I know that being that this is, I mean, her job her job has to do with dealing with people that may come up with certain advice on how to handle their diets or their situations, considering that this is the new work style, you know, let's say more or so, or more or like. So what has been your experience with this, even as a professional yourself?
Thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah.
Mine it's personal because I transitioned to remote last year October, and so between October to now I've had my own experience, and it's not funny. The thing is, remote work is actually it's becoming the new normal, and there's nothing we can do about it. We all have to evolve along the line and find things that would fit in. So personally, my experience was chaotic initially, right? Before I found a balance, because the whole having to work remotely, you find that there is a possibility of, I won't call it overworking, but you want to deliver. You don't want to feel like, oh, I'm not productive. So you tend to even carry over work into the night when you're supposed to rest. So a lot of things goes in, and at the end of the day, the health is the major thing that suffers with our health, right? So one experience I had when I started it was I would always notice I was skipping my meals because initially I was carrying over work. So most times at night still working. So I wake up maybe 30 minutes to resume work because my own remote work is actually structured. It's 9 to 5. So I expected to work the hours of 9 to 5. Yes, there's 1 hour break in between. So most times I wake up and I'm jumping into work immediately. And then by the time I realize I've not had breakfast, it's already noon, maybe during my time. And over time, I began to notice the forge brain, like I was getting tired. Now, those are part of the things that some people experience, not everyone. Okay, so there's this tiredness, and if you don't fix it, there is a challenge. And what's the best way to fix it is our plate, because what we are feeding the body is important to how the body responds, to how productive you are at work. So the whole remote work thing, it's the new normal, but we just have to find a balance.
That's very interesting that you actually see that. I think for me, yes, it would be more about the experience, and it does make sense when you say it gets very tiring, because depending on how tedious or how tasking your work is, the brain also needs food. So just working and working and working over time, not having to have time to go refresh, come back like you would usually do, even giving the brain a break, definitely can affect your performance and all that. For me, I think I also am a professional, and I do have a 9 to 5, but at the time of the COVID pandemic, I was doing my master's. So on the master's program, naturally we're also affected because we're forced to have to do things from the hostel. We couldn't be in the lecture hall and all that. And most times as well, if you had any thing you needed to discuss with your supervisor, it also had to be done online. You couldn't do it. So, and sometimes these discussions or these lectures can go on also for hours, just as you would imagine, a job. So I realized that I started snacking a lot on crisps, snacking a lot on, soda, Coke, things like that. It wasn't really about whether I'm eating healthy at that point. It was more about getting things done, because there was, things that I had to work to deadlines. I had to, work on assignments and, do presentations that, everything was working with time. So it's not really about, I'm just trying to get things done, because it was like it thrown at us, and all that. It was not something one had planned. So you had to adjust quickly and, and get things done. So if I translate it to the work life, I can imagine that if I also had my job at the time, obviously my colleagues who were at work at the time also said they were working from home. So when you are, during that workspace, you cannot think of, am I getting something healthy? All you want to do is like give your brain enough food to keep you going, to make sure that when you are actively working, you are performing. So it's all about maybe sugar. Definitely there was, there was a spike in sugar in my diet because of the kind of things I was eating and all that. And you realize that even after the post-COVID era, somehow, some of us, me, for example, I've gotten quite lazy with a lot of things, because it was a substantial length of time, almost that, I think it went on for about a year or more. I can't remember now. So managing it, like being in school at the time, I got used to ordering food, so ordering food, you get lazy to cook. And then apart from that as well, going out to shop to help with exercising. If that lifestyle was something I was so used to doing, it also got, affected, because it just built up this sedentary life. I wasn't as active as before. And I've seen that now is an effort to try to get back to that former structure that one used to have, not just to your work life, but also to your personal life. So yeah, so remote working and remote everything became the new normal. Not just with work, with shopping, with everything. It just became the new normal. So now I think but like I said, now things, well, you can't just sit there and say, okay, because this is what my body wants, I'll just continue with this. So you have to discipline yourself to ensure that you are keeping yourself healthy. So even though some of these things are still ongoing, maybe some ways in which I have tried to help myself is, okay, it's easy to do a smoothie. Maybe if you have a meeting that will span 1-2 hours and you woke up, maybe you weren't able to do your regular exercise. If you're the type if you're a morning person that does exercise, the first thing is, okay, let me make a smoothie I can have beside me, just as I saw you do now. You have something beside you now that I can quickly, drink, that will still give you that spike, and also at the same time be food for you and all that. So now I think it's about having a mixed lifestyle when it comes to your health, where you can try and mix, you making the food. And even if you want to order now, thankfully there are people there. The restaurants are also, eateries and all that. They're out there and they are conscious about helping customers to eat healthy too. So it's about also being able to have one that you can order from on time, that you can get your meal while doing your work. So just to also put it to you, to the Exchanger, or to also ask you, what are ways in which you try to help yourself to be more healthy, considering, well, you said some things already that you had to find food, but were there any things that you kind of left off when you had a more structured system before that time, and what you may be doing now to help keep yourself healthy with the new normal?
Okay, the first thing is for our viewers, they may want, because some people have experiences and they can't really pinpoint, they don't understand the experience. So the first thing is to talk about the experiences, what will make you know that the remote is probably affecting your health, right? So one of the things you notice is the sedentary lifestyle. So the sedentary lifestyle, people are prone to sit, face the system and work for long hours. They may not intentionally notice that you just want to deliver. So there's this sedentary lifestyle you develop over time. Then there is mindless snacking. You eat, like because you want to fuel the brain to be active. Anything you take, and what is common amongst people who work remotely that do not have time to meal prep per se is taking snacks that in quotes are sugar filled, right? You take them, then you take the normal conventional juices, like things that are easy, quick fixes per se, right? So that's mindless snacking. You're not intentional about what you're eating. Another thing you notice is the skipping of meals. Because that frequent skipping of meal is there, your body begins to get tired. Your blood sugar could be affected. So over time, all of these affect your health. So now, if these are the symptoms or if these are things that you were noticing, another thing, one of the common thing again is actually waking up every time tired. Okay, you walk, you sleep well, but you wake up and you're feeling like you're tired, you're not even ready for the day and all. Yes, I can understand sometimes it's stress, but what does that have to do with your health and your play? That's where you need to start fixing. Now, if you're facing any of these challenges and you're a remote worker, it's time to start asking the right questions. The right questions like, what am I doing? What is happening? Okay, when did these changes start? When you get the answers, the next step is what can I do to help? Okay. In my case, I realized that I was constantly skipping my meals, especially my breakfast, right? Till like one my time. So when it's that time, that's when I would eat. So, and another thing I noticed, sitting all the time. I was mostly sitting. So when I noticed this, I actually noticed it because my body began to speak. The body speaks with all the signs, the tiredness, the lack of concentration, focus, and all. So my body began to speak very loud, and I took in steps. The first step I actually took was to go to the hospital and make sure that I was okay, because it spanned for like about 4 or 5 months before I actually noticed all of these things. So that's what happened. It was consistent. So going to the hospital to check, and then the next thing is fixing the lifestyle. Okay, it's not really compulsory that I must eat this, I must eat that. Like, you have to fill up, just like what you said, that what is important is give the body something, get going. The question is, what are you giving the body? Because anything you give to the body, yes, you can get going. Are you giving the body the right thing? What are you feeding your body with? You want energy, but you go to the easy to get juices, and yes, you get the quick energy, but is that the right thing to give to the body? No, that's not the right thing. You get the immediate energy, but over time is a pattern you're building, and then the body pays for it. So in my case, when I realized that, after going to the hospital, the next thing I did was to try to fix my food. So one of the things I did was to have structured food time. What I mean by structured food time is, if I'm going to have breakfast, sometimes till now I still wake up late, but I try my best to see that I eat something before the work starts. And sometimes I still miss it. You cannot get it straight all the time. That's the truth. But it's actually good. For someone like me, if I eat before 9 a.m., I kind of feel somehow my body is not okay. So is anything after 9 a.m., I feel right to eat. But my work starts at 9. So what I try to do, sometimes I don't eat. I get something interesting I can snack on. What can you snack on? Not me, I do eat some healthy things, that because if you keep biscuit, it's biscuit you go back to. If you keep if you keep juices, like anything you keep around you is what you go to, because that's what is easy for you to access. So you need to get the right things on your table. For instance, if you're working longer hours, get the right things on your table. It should, in case you need to eat something to keep you going, so that it's something healthy you are eating on your table, right? So another thing I did was, most evenings after work, I try to take walk 30 minutes, 45 minutes. I've not been able to do sport 1 hour. And sometimes I'm actually tired, but I try to. And another thing I've been able to do is, while still working, I try to get up and stretch, do some because sitting for that too long, the back, everything pains. So that's working. Then when it came to my plate, I became intentional with meal prepping. Meal prepping. Weekends, I will decide to, you know what, I'm going to cook what I'm going to eat for 1 week. And I'm not the only one, it's family food. So I try to have my vegetables, my protein prepped so that it's just okay. Bring it out, warm it. I don't have to go over cooking, like start cooking from the start, from the fresh, right? It will take so much time, and you may not have all that time. So over the weekend, you prep, keep in batches, so you can just keep out and you're eating. Then what is the plate made of? Your carbohydrate is there, your protein is there, your vegetables, fats, like everything you need. You may not get it all. Please, to a certain point, you have it so that you know you are fueling the body right. Because when you're not fueling the body right, the brain needs you're using the brain, so the focus is going to be tampered. Okay, so for one other thing that you can do, if you can get your smoothies or your juices, like homemade, if you type that like juices, like natural per se, is not the packaged or processed juices. You have it standby, but that does not mean it's replacing your food. Juice cannot replace your food. You have to fuel your body right. You have to fuel your body right. So for the snack options, you can have something like nuts, which is common, cashew nuts, your fruits, right? And keep them around. So those were the few things I've been able to fix. I've not fixed all because as we go, we realize things, but these are a few things I've been able to do that are helping.
Yes. Oh, thank you. That was very, 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 very good. I think I will run our viewers through all that you said, because they're actually things that if one is not already doing, one can look into them. Because I recently noticed an increase in customers calling to ask if Johanniba Ginger has products that can help burn fats. And my immediate reaction is I don't recommend, for me personally, as a person and my experience, I'm against anything that you do that cannot be your lifestyle. So generally, I'm against diet in the sense that anything that promises me what seems too good to be true, I don't go through it. Because if it was that easy, we won't have people that are dealing with different kind of obesity situations. So I always recommend portion control, exercise as often as you can. It doesn't have to be lifting weights per se. Even walking is exercising. And then what do you eat? You are what you eat. You know, it shows on your skin, it shows on your body. So generally, there needs to be some form of discipline if you do want to maintain a healthy lifestyle. And for me, it's not always about, although, yes, everybody wants to be slim. Some people want to be slim and skinny, which is very okay. We have every right to look the way we want to look. But I personally always feel, I rather feel healthy than be concerned about my how skinny I look. I personally don't even have a body frame that allows me to be skinny. The way God built me, if I start looking skinny, you think I'm sick. So I just want to know that I'm healthy and I feel light, and I can wear clothes that I know I'm not feeling uncomfortable in. At the same time, I can walk freely. For me, it's just comfort, you know. So I don't know. I also, because I had it in mind that while we're discussing the topic of today, I will bring in this issue to see what Dietitian Grace also feels, because that's my view. I'm not after diets. You know, all through my life, when I was in university, I remember as a young girl, then there was this keto diet. A lot of my classmates, I remember one particular classmate that, you know, even had, because where I schooled where it was that food was catered. So we were fed. We didn't have to cook for ourselves. We didn't even have the facility to cook for ourselves. So I have some of my classmates that want to specifically request from the cooks that she's on keto diet. Can you please make certain, you know, make certain foods that are preferential to that diet? So what I noticed was that the cooks switched, because they also worked with a budget, and they're also trying to see how they can, you know, be kind to their students, to their, you know, those that eat their food. So you find them coming up with their own interpretation of what a keto diet should be. And you find some of them coming with, you know, I remember one that they kept feeding her eggs. Hello, Dietitian Grace? I can see it's not okay. Okay. So I realized that they started feeding her lots of eggs. Her diet became eggs and milk, because that's what they could afford to cook for her. You must mind, you must know that she didn't have the facility to cook her food. So you can imagine she was starving herself and living off eggs and what do you call and milk. And she had a very her body frame was not built for a skinny person. But at that time, that was the fashion then. At that that particular era, it was all about looking skinny for some reason and all that, because young people get influenced by what they watch on TV. So it was all about looking skinny, looking nice, but she wasn't confident enough to appreciate half her full form. She was not overweight, but she just had a good full form. But nobody, you couldn't tell her in her mind she had come to agree and accept herself, as that. So I found her living very unhealthy. When she got tired of eating eggs and milk, she had to go back to her regular, her regular diet, which naturally affected her more. So I don't know that, I think it's good to help our ladies, because this has come to me a lot, and I do feel concerned. I do understand the pressure sometimes from society, from people, people care. Is it out of care now, or just wanting to have their input in your life? They're always about, you are putting on weight, and sometimes it shouldn't, there are many reasons. I know PCOS, people deal with that. There are many reasons why people have. So what can one just do to just maintain a health? I mean, what's your advice to people when it comes to this health and weight management?
The first thing I try to tell people when it comes to weight management is that you need to understand that it's not magic. Okay. And there is there's no magic, there's no particular thing that will burn that for what are you burning per se. It's a lifestyle situation. Okay. Yeah. If you look at it from the point of lifestyle, then you may focus less on the scale all the time. Yeah. Okay. The weight you were calling to burn, in quotes, like you want Janiba juice that will help you burn fat. It's something that has been there over a long period of time. Exactly. So you expect one juice to go into your body and shred the fat. It's not going to happen. Do you get it? So it's a lifestyle situation. Now, when I say lifestyle, you need to build something sustainable. For this case scenario you painted, this person now went back to what she was used to. And that's because it's not sustainable.
Exactly. It's not sustainable.
Whatever somebody is preaching to you, diet, what I think was on trend currently. Then you were talking about keto. Now what's on trend is water fast, fruit fast. That's what's currently on trend. The matter is it's not a lifestyle that is sustainable. So I don't allow people go that path. And one thing you need to know about the whole weight loss is there is a root cause. What could be the challenge? What's making you gain so much weight? Those are questions that need to be answered medically. So you don't go to someone selling a supplement or something to just reduce the weight that way. No. You could be drinking the juice if that's what is making you lose weight. And you feel like, oh, it's making me lose weight. But when you now want to eat, you don't even consider your portion. You don't consider what is in your food because you feel this thing you're taking is helping you to lose weight. Over time, there becomes a problem. You could be solving the weight loss, the overweight problem, and then developing another challenge. So when it comes to weight loss, I look at it from everything is actually lifestyle. Okay. And it's not easy to lose weight. It's not easy. So give yourself some grace. Take it easy. Develop lifestyles that are sustainable. Exercises, what you are eating, portion, timing. These are important things to look at for and fix them before we start talking about shredding weight. Nothing is going to make anybody lose weight automatically. Yes, like the example you probably said, the keto diet, yes, it could make you lose the weight over time, but it's not sustainable. So when you go back, you will get
exactly. Yes. Thank you so much for that, dietitian Grace. We're actually running out of time because we try to be here and keep people for 30 minutes. So we're running out of time. So just to round up on what the kind of, is it guidance now, I would say, that we can give to our viewers on how to be able to inculcate a healthy lifestyle considering the remote work culture that is now the new normal, you know, which we know came about very, very predominantly because of the COVID pandemic. So I really loved what you said you applied to your life that helped you and you are still working on. I'm glad you said you are still working on. The thing with these things is that lifestyle change takes time. So it's also good to be kind to oneself. It's one step at a time, but you just keep trying. Don't give up. You know, you may fail once, fail twice, but, you know, wake up with a new, with new motivation and keep moving. So for me, what I picked up, you said the first thing you should do when you notice that with this new dietary system that this remote work culture has caused, when you first notice that you are beginning to feel funny, because not everyone may have, some people may have been able to have, despite it, still maintain a healthy lifestyle or not have had to suffer anything. So for those who may have felt like their plate suffered, or their diet lifestyle suffered, you can go and get checked. Depending on how seriously impacted it has been on your body, you can go and get checked by a doctor and find out what the problem may be. You know, there's those of us that do yearly checkup. So, but you don't have to wait for yearly checkup. Just go do your check with your doctor, and based on what they say, you can now begin to start a new structured timetable. You know, that Shangri spoke about a structured food time. That was what she started. So you can drop your timetable if you want, or you can have it mentally. We can now set up a structured food timetable that you can now know, okay, I should eat at this time. At this time, I would like to eat this and all that. Then another thing to help yourself is, in the event that you are not very good at keeping to a structured system of feeding, you can also ensure that the food in your pantry, the food in your cabinets, wherever you keep food, make sure that they are foods that when you eat them, you don't feel guilty after. So change them to what is more healthy or what is much more in line with what your doctor or your dietitian may have recommended. Then you can also take walks during your free time. You know, you can take walks depending on how your what do you call it? Your work regimen is like. You may have breaks in between because you can't be on your system 24 hours. So during those free times, take a walk. Walking is a very effective, people don't understand, but it's a very, very effective exercise. So take some time, walk, and then, you know, you can also incorporate stretching exercises. I have colleagues that actually do that in the office. I used to look at them and be like, what are they doing? But actually, it makes sense. They get up during sometimes to do stretches. They walk around their table, come back, sit down. So those things also help. Just anything to move your body. Then you also spoke about prepped foods. You know, you prep your foods for the week. You know, foods that you will cook, and you cook them in batches. So you can also do that. You prep for the foods that you want to cook. Maybe you have a day, maybe a Saturday or a weekend, where you now say, okay, I'm going to prep. You know, I'm going to prep for this meal. So you have the foods. You know, you organize your ingredients accordingly, and then you prepare them, and then you store them in your fridge in batches. I have a friend that actually does that. That has been her. I don't know if she still does that now, but I admire that about her. Weekends, she goes and does her shopping. You know that she's a working mom. She comes home, cooks, you know, whether it's stew, okra, whatever soup that she knows she will eat that week. She cooks them and stores them in batches. So each day, she doesn't have to warm everything. She can just warm the batch for that day and make swallow or whatever will accompany that soup. And you see that day is, you know, she's okay for that day. So that also helps, you know, cooking in batches. And then what is your plate made of? You know, even as you are thinking of these recipes that you are going to cook, is there a balanced diet? You know, do you have your protein, your carbohydrate, your fats, your, what else? Your vitamins, your minerals, is everything there? You know, we all know the basic food classes. So is everything there? Ensure that it's there in the right proportion according to what you were told. Then you can also have your healthy smoothies and drinks, but they cannot replace a healthy meal. Your body needs everything. Like I always say, portion control, everything, don't do it in excess. You know, so these are all smoothies and juices are supplements. They cannot replace food. So also bearing that in mind, you can also have these options there as well, you know. And then you can also have your snacks. We have groundnuts, we have nuts, cashew nuts, we have various types of nuts. You can also chop your carrots in bite sizes. You know, so you have these things to snack on. So, you know, when you are talking, you like before we started this show, that Grace came with her cup of drink, and before we started, she could like take a gulp of it, and so there are some, you know, so you can have these things that you can just snack on while you are, you know, because not every time you'll be talking during the what do you call it? When you're having this time, yes, during these interactive sessions, there are times that you may be free to just take one or two things and take a bite. So I think with these things, you know, trying to incorporate this, I think it will really help to get yourself back to shape, you know, and still be able to manage the new normal. Things are always evolving. So it's keeping up with the times and ensuring that you're adapting effectively. Okay, so I think that's that. So with this, I think we can close, except if anyone has any question, or if Dietitian Grace may want to add to what I've just said, if I missed anything, you know, but I felt this was a very interesting session. Yes, over to Dietitian Grace and the public, anyone, if you have anything to add.
You said is in order, but I like to drop this. Remote work is real, so is your health.
Yes.
Because if anything happens to your health, the remote work will be paused. So exactly. As much as your remote work is important, your health is more important. So prioritize it.
All right. Thank you very much for that, Dietitian Grace. I think that's very true. You know, if you're not here tomorrow, somebody can replace you at a go. So take care of yourself and stay healthy, be kind to yourself, and life will also be kind to you. All right. Thank you so much for our lovely viewers that are able to join us. We appreciate you. We hope that next time you will have questions for us. We're here for you. We're here for your health. And these are the faces behind Janiba Ginger Limited. And we do hope that you enjoy our drinks. And we hope to keep making things better for you. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a very good evening. All right. Bye.